Hey guys, Tyler here. More recently, I spotted this video clip directly from England, and so without further hesitation, let's react to it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. November marks Islamophobia Awareness Month. Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran, despite opposition from the previous government. Acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society. Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Can I agree with him that desecration is awful and I think should be condemned across the House? We are, as I said before, Mr. Speaker, committed to tackling all forms of hatred and division, including, of course, Islamophobia in all of its forms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
When I saw this video clip directly for the first time, I'm not necessarily surprised, not one bit, when it comes down to the case of England. The main reason why I would say that is largely because many public figures and politicians try to bend over backwards when it comes down to the issue of political Islam. Let's take, for example, the whole entire case about the fact that a Quran was actually desecrated at a school, and many people got really upset that a Quran copy was desecrated by students at a particular setting. When it comes down for the case of the Labour Party, they openly stated out loud that they want to use their time and effort to fight against what they call Islamophobia. Additionally, England has a humongous problem with the case of grooming gangs. If somebody were to report directly from the grooming gangs, they'll be called racist directly. Additionally, I also heard that there are some parts that also have Sharia courts, which again makes no sort of sense directly in a Western country. Since this whole entire video was about the issue of desecration, here's my marker right here. And so right here is pretty much well established that in order for me to own a marker, I would need my own personal transaction to own this marker. Pretty much through agreement and trade, many people across the world, they make transactions every single day. And it's not just the issue of markers. It's not just the issue of video games or furniture or houses and things of that nature. The idea, the notion of property rights also directly extends from books too. Now, there are many types of holy books. Like, let's take, for example, with the case of the Indian text. If I use my marker to use it, to highlight the verses directly in the text, is it actually not necessarily permitted for me to do that? Or what about for the case, like, I don't know, the Bible? There are like a lot of pages directly within the Bible. If I simply cannot actually memorize all the pages in the Bible, is it actually okay for me to use my marker to actually memorize like the pages directly incited? When it comes down to the Egyptian text, again, is it actually okay for me to use the marker to memorize the text directly within inside the book? Or what about for the case of the Greeks? What about for the case of the Mesopotamians? What about for the case of the Norse? So I guess most people watching this video are in direct agreement that if I want to memorize verses directly in those texts, it's actually perfectly okay. However, if I want to highlight verses directly from the Quran, if I put my marker inside this particular book right here, that's a no-no. How is it okay for me as an owner of different books to actually use a marker for all the books that I have except this one book? why should I actually follow any type of religious rules? If I can use this marker to mark up the pages within my books that I actually have, how come I cannot do the exact same thing for the Quran? Why not? If I'm not obliged to follow religious rules, that would also mean I'm also be able to do whatever I want in a free, liberal, democratic society. I wager that the vast majority of religious believers use markers like these to highlight passages. Now, are you telling me to tell those religious believers not to memorize books as well? So not only is it limiting to, of course, people like me who are not necessarily religious, but it also basically limits what the believers of said text have to do when it comes down to memorization. Are we going to sit here and pretend that every single case of desecration is somehow equal? Burning a book is not the exact same thing as trying to memorize a verse. However, even though in the most extreme case, like burning a book, or putting a book directly in the toilet, that person is still an owner of that book. And because they're actually the owner of that book, they can do whatever they want. And if you don't like that people can do whatever they want with your books, maybe, just maybe, go somewhere else. But anyway, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see you guys next video.